Welcome to the first video for our flipped classroom. Tonight's video is to give you a brief overview of what my daily schedule is going to look like in language arts. Because language arts is a workshop class, it looks a little different than what you're used to, and it's important that you understand how time is structured so that you can plan how you're going to be as a reader and a writer in my classroom. So the title of your notes tonight is going to be Daily Schedule for Language Arts. The objective, it's in the yellow box, and all of my videos will have an objective. My objective is to introduce the daily structures, what each day is going to look like from the next class I see you till the end of the year. The objective, I include the objective, and this should help you in your note-taking. It should help you in your summarizing. The point of this video is to give you a rough outline or a skeleton of what every single day is going to look like, what our schedule is going to be, so that you can depend upon having particular amounts of time to do particular kinds of things. Now you need to remember, like the best laid plans of mice and men, everything is subject to variation, and that depends upon what we're working on at the time. But one thing you can depend on is that you will have time to read and write in my class every single day, and that the purpose of my classroom is to support you, to structure time so that you will have what you need to grow as a reader and a writer. So the first thing that's going to happen every single day, beginning when you come into class, the next class period, is you're going to look for the daily agenda. It's going to be recorded in the upper right-hand corner of my whiteboard. And in the daily agenda, you will find any of the mentor texts that we're going to be looking at. You're going to find the skills that I'm going to focus on in my focus lesson. You're going to find homework. You're going to have a minute or two to come in and get the homework jotted down. I'll go over it at the end of the block, but you're only going to have a minute or two in my class. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to begin the class. 90 minutes is not enough time every other day. So I don't have time to waste with you wandering around and touching base with your friends. That's what the hall is for. If you're tardy, you're going to miss. I'm sorry. When I begin, I go over the daily class agenda with you, and I make connections. I let you see how what we're going to do in class today is directly connected to what we did in class the time before that, and the time before that, and the time before that. If you don't get anything out of this video today, it's that nothing in my class is random. Everything we do in class leads you and supports you for the next day's piece of work. So you need to remember that everything we do connects to what's going to come before and to what's going to come next. And this has an impact on what happens when you're absent. So if you think of my daily lessons as like a chain or steps in a ladder, no random wheel of English here, folks. If you're absent, you're missing a step or you're missing a link in the chain. And if you don't make that work up, it's going to be hard to bridge that gap. So we're going to look at what we're going to do today, and we're going to make sure that it's crystal clear that you understand how today furthers what we did the day before. The next thing we're going to do every day is to move into silent reading. And it's because good writers read. And the better a reader you are, the better a writer you are. So it's kind of like flip sides of the same coin. One supports the other. Silent reading is the time for you to read the book you choose. I expect you to track your progress in pages you've read each week, and this is a change. I'm going to track your reading week by week, rather than 4.5 weeks or 9.5 weeks. I expect you to have read 150 to 200 pages a week. And this includes whatever you get done in class during silent reading, as well as what you get done during your standing homework of reading at home every night for 20 minutes. 150 pages is the minimum. 200 pages should be average. Anything other than 250 pages is going to be extra points in my grade book. SSR always begins with a brief book talk. They last about 2 or 3 minutes, and my purpose is to show you the great books that are out there. It's very hard to be a good reader, or like Gary Paulson says, you should read like a wolf eats. You should devour good books. I do my book talks to show you the great stuff that's out there. I'll do book talks for the first 9 weeks, and after that, it's going to be you and your classmates' job to do book talks about books you're reading. I'll give you more information about this when the time comes, just so you understand the first couple of minutes of every silent reading is going to be to show you some good stuff that's out there and available to you. And then finally, while you're silent reading, I'm going to be chatting with you. I want to know you. I want to know you as readers, and I want to know you as writers. So I chat with you. I ask you what you're reading, how you like the book, how it's going, is it too hard, how you picked it, why you picked it, what kinds of books you like. The questions I ask you in these kinds of reading and writing conferences aren't test questions. If I ask you a question where I already know the answer and I just want to know if you know it, well, in my class we call that a test or a quiz. So when you and I sit down to chat about reading or writing, I'm asking you questions I don't have an answer to. I'm asking you questions that I need to know so that I can help you become better readers and better writers. Or you can help me find books I haven't heard of. Or you can help me come across writing strategies I don't know about. This is a community and we help each other. When silent reading is over, we put your book away and we go directly to quick writing. This work is done always in your writer's notebook. And this is kind of like the flip side of silent reading. If you're going to become a better writer, you have to have a place to practice. And that's what quick writes are for. And this too lasts about 15 minutes. I'm going to talk more about quick writes as the year wears on. I mainly just want you to have an idea of what it's about because we are going to do a quick write in class tomorrow. The only expectations I have during quick writing is that you write the entire time. But it's no fail writing time in my class. I have no expectation for quality. The only expectation I have is that you have a meaningful engagement with writing. Whether the writing eventually comes out of your notebook to become your memoir or a poem or a song, I don't expect that everything you write will become something. I only expect that you will write the entire time about something that's on your mind. My expectation for quick writing is quantity, because quantity leads to quality. My other expectation for quick writing is that it's done in your writer's notebook, and that means your writer's notebook comes to class every day. After quick writing, we move on to our focus lesson, and this is probably the best news of the entire video for you. I am a passionate reader and writer. I absolutely love what I do. Teaching is too difficult to not do it if you're not passionate about it. So I could talk for 180 minutes on reading and writing, but I wouldn't want to sit for 180 minutes and listen to me talk about reading and writing. So I make you this promise. I will never have a direct lesson last more than 20 minutes. I promise you that. This focus lesson is the one time in the day that I pull everyone together and I hit on a high point that we all need as readers and writers. The notes that you take during the focus lesson go in your interactive student notebook, your ISN. Everybody's right-hand page should look the same. Your tests and your quizzes come from your right-hand page information that you gather during your focus lesson. Focus lesson material could be studying a mentor text, looking at how an author put the text, organized the text, included information in the text, showed, not didn't tell us, structured a scene, wrote a snapshot, used concrete detail, used dialogue, used figurative language, made a transition from one paragraph to a next. It might be talking about my writing process, or it might be one of you talking about your writing process, asking for help. I don't know how to organize my information. Here's what I have in my writer's notebook, but I don't know how to begin. It might be some suggestions for rehearsal. What can you do to get from your writer's notebook to a draft? It might be revision strategies that I use or that I've seen you using that you can share with the class. It might be a brief grammar or sentence structure lesson for something that I've seen most of you need. Or if we're focusing on reading in the unit, it might be, why does this book move me? How does this book move me? What did the author do to move me that way? To responding to your reading. But it lasts about 15 or 20 minutes, and it gives you the tools to become a better reader or writer. Once the focus lesson is done, the bulk of the class time is writer's workshop, or is reader or writer's workshop time. It's independent workshop time. This is the time where you take the tools that we talk about during our focus lessons and you actually use them. The fact that this is independent work time needs to change how you think about being a student in my classroom. If you're one of those people that likes to fly under the radar, doesn't really think about class once you walk out the door the day before, and then doesn't kind of think about it again until you're sitting in front of me and I force you into it, you're going to have a rough time this year. I expect you to be active learners, and I expect you to be participants in my literacy community in my classroom. So you need to come to workshop time with an agenda. I'm working on memoir, I'm working on my turning point narrative, and I need to get this done today. I'm meeting with my literature circle today. I need to read this piece to be prepared for my literature circle in next class. I need to find a conclusion for my time narrative. I need to get a peer conference. I'm not sure how to end this. I need to get up with Mrs. Buchanan today and get some feedback. I need to finish my draft so I can turn it in. It's independent work time, and you need to come to class with a plan. By this time, 85 minutes have passed, and it's time to end the class for the day. So I bring everybody back into whole group, and we do closing. This is the time where we share your successes during workshop time. It's the time for you to line somebody up for a conference if you need a conference the next class period. It's a time for you to read lines out loud that you think are amazing that you've come across during workshop time. It's time to throw something out to the whole class if you want some feedback. And it's time for me to go over the homework. And once that's done, our time is up and it's time for you to leave my classroom. And you're knowing that you're going to find the exact same structure in place the following class, so that you need to go home for homework and sit down and think about what's going to happen. Okay, that's pretty much it. Remember that I expect you to be an active learner. That means you need to be a thoughtful viewer of this video. Pause where you need to take notes. Rewind it if you need to. Review as you need to. The purpose of a flipped classroom is for you to take notes at your own pace, not at somebody else's, and I expect you to do that. You need to take good notes on the right-hand page of your ISN. Remember that those notes are subject to a test or quiz. On the opposite, the left-hand page of your notes, I would like you to write a summary. What did you learn? What did I talk about? And I'd also like you to write one good question that you can pose to your peers when we get together in class, whatever day, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Have a good evening, and I will see you tomorrow.